Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Contract Simplified A to Z of Contract Lifecycle Management. Today I'm here with a new video on procurement contract cycle. Before understanding the procurement contract cycle, let's understand what does procurement mean. In simple word, procurement means availing services or goods in your workplace. So that is the simplest meaning that I could think of the term procurement. So now let us understand what is the first step in this procurement contracts. The first one is need identification. So here, the concerned person will identify the need, the requirement. For example, if they require any software, they'll understand first what is the software that they require, what is the specification that they are looking forward for, or if it is any kinds of service, then they would also understand what is the level of seniority that person whom they are hiring should have, and what is the skill set that they require, educational qualification, and other allied factors. This will be followed with the procurement plan. So procurement plan in itself is a big universe. It involves budget, it involves strategic planning, it involves the criteria for vendor selection, the time frame, milestone, whatnot. Like it is an elaborate process on itself, and also it has to be done very carefully so that it goes in hand with all other departments, like that of the finance, that the need that you have identified should match with the available budget, with the milestone, and also the project, and so many other parameters. This will be followed by sourcing and supplier selection. So what do you mean by sourcing? Sourcing is wherein you enter into the market and look for options that provider will meet the need of your requirement of goods or services. This will be followed by supplier selection or vendor shortlist, wherein you will look at the vendor profile, their previous achievements, their existing clients, their terms and the conditions that they would work on, and also you will analyze that whether they are fitting in your budget or out of your budget. So considering all of these factors, the supplier would be selected. And it need not be a single supplier, there may be multiple supplier, because this will be followed by the process of RFI, RFP, RFQ. That is a request for information, request for proposal, request for quotation, wherein you would be asking them the proof of funds, that is that they have this much of balance in their account to support the project, or even about the resources that they have, including that of the approvals and all other criteria that you have listed in your procurement plan. This will be followed by an NDA or confidentiality agreement. So here, why an NDA is entered? That is because you will be discussing about the business, about the project, and you'll have to share certain confidential information with them. And you would like to protect those confidential information from entering into the general public domain. That is why you will have to enter into an NDA or confidentiality agreement. And there are some vendors or some companies who would like to enter into an NDA before even discussing about the proposal, the quotation, and also providing details like the proof of funds, so that it remains confidential between both of them. This will be followed by due diligence and requirement finalization. So here the vendors will be like shortlisted, and for example, if it is related to any software, then you would be asking questions like whether supplier will have access to our network. If so, what kind of access do they have? Will they have access to confidential information, and how are they going to protect the confidential information? And so many other parameters would be discussed in the due diligence. And basically, I would like to say that this will depend on the nature of business and also the internal company policies. Next, followed by contract negotiation. So once you have finalized all your business requirements, you will enter into a contract. So here the negotiation would be either for business terms or for legal terms. Business terms are like the milestones, pricing, and services, maintenance, etc., etc. And legal terms would be on the clauses of contract. It may be indemnification clause, or any insurance clause, or diverse supplier clause, any other clause for that matter. This will be followed by contract drafting and review. So the contract draft would be shared between the parties. There would be multiple calls set up to discuss about the red lines and come to a common conclusion. Once the contract draft is finalized, it will be routed for approval. And also the approval process would depend from company to company based on their internal policies and their structure. And this will be followed by the execution of the contract. So now when the contract is executed and it is in place, the particular contract would be implemented and the performance would be done. For example, if it is related to a professional service, then the service would commence on that specific day. And if it is related to any other services or goods, the goods will be delivered, the milestones will be met, the deadline will be met. And then followed by contract administration, management, and subcontracts. Again, this is a very wider thing and it may go for years. Like if you are entering into a MSA, then you will have to have the subsidiary SOWs, the work orders, change orders, and many other related contracts, amendments, addendums, whatnot, to meet the performance of the contract. And along with entering into the contract, it's also important to have a repository where you can store all the contracts so that it will be easy to access or refer whenever it is required. See, you never know when the contract would be required. It may be for a reference purpose, or it may be just to see what we have entered, to cross verify. It depends on